All right, so my outlook for DXY for today, right? So starting from the weekly, we realized last week was not able to close below the previous week's candle, right? And it looks like this week too we might be closing within the range of the previous 2 weeks the previous 2 weeks candle, right? Closing within the range of the previous 2 weeks candle. So that is to tell us that bearish sentiment is gradually exhausting from the market. So there might be bullish sentiment stepping in. But even though we have that idea by just looking at these candles, you can't just start taking a buy trade, right? So let's go to the daily. So on the daily, this is our supply that's in control, that brought price to this downside. Now technically this will be our new supply in control, but then I want to still keep it at the previous supply because we are stuck in a range, right? We are stuck in a range until we start trading above or below. You can't really know where the market actually wants to go. But I'm favoring buys to the upside, so I'm looking for this supply to be taken out. So once price starts trading above the supply, I'll be looking for price to pull back to the demand that led to the break of the supply. Then I look for buys to the upside. Then we'll be looking for price to make that correction up to this fresh daily supply. So my outlook today on DXY is I'm still looking for buys on DXY, but I'll start looking for buys only when we start trading above this zone, right? Okay. All right, so on all the USD, I'm expecting bearishness on all the USD, but we are currently having buys in control, right? This is the supply that led to pushing price down to this demand. If we start trading above this supply, right? If we start trading above this supply, right? If you start trading above the supply, then I'll be looking for buys to the upside. If you start trading above the supply, so we come back to the demand that led to the break of the supply, then we look for buys a continuum buys to the upside. But if we start trading below this demand, I'll be looking for sells, because with that we'll be breaking back inside this 4-hour range, right? And then we know we have this fresh demand level which has not yet been mitigated. So once we break back inside the range, this is what I'm looking for, right? We get a break, right? We get a pullback into the supply that led to the break of this demand, and then we look for sells to the downside. So on all the USD, I'm looking to be bearish, right? But the market is currently indecisive because we are currently in a demand and also currently in a supply. So we don't know which side is going to take over, right? So we just have to wait. But my bias is to look for bearish, since on the DXY I'm expecting a correction on the DXY. But nonetheless, if you get a break to the upside, I'll be favoring buys, right? So we are looking to be reactive and not predictive. So I'm not going to do what I think should happen. I'm going to do what the market wants to happen. So once I get a break below, I look for sells. I get a break above, I look for buy. So we are waiting for this. So currently this is our demand that's in control, that has led price to push towards the upside, right? And then we are currently in another supply, so you can't actually make a move. So it's like we are in a range, we are stuck in a range, we are stuck between demand and supply. So once we get a break on either side, then we'll be looking for to make an entry. But I'm favoring sells, since I'm expecting DXY to make a correction. All right, so right, on the Japanese yen, right, I'm expecting bullishness on the Japanese yen, right? But we are currently stuck in in a range. We are currently stuck in a range, right? We are currently stuck in this range. Now we have an unmitigated supply just above price, right? And we also have we also have a weekly supply above this whole structure. So once we get a break above this supply, then we know that what our next target will be this what weekly what supply. Now let's look at the Japanese yen quickly, right? The Japanese basket, right? This is the Japanese basket. The Japanese basket, this is what controls the Japanese. So this is a chart representing the performance of just what the Japanese currency on its own. So currently what you can see, we had what we first had a change of character, what a daily break, right? And then now we had what we had a change of character, yes, and then we had what a break of what structure, right? We had first had a change of character, and then we had what a break of what structure, confirming that the Japanese yen what is likely to be shifting what bearish, right? And then we had price pulling back to test this supply, made a move to the downside, but we were not able to break this low. And then currently what, so this, right, this became the high, right? There's also liquidity lying above what this high, right? And then we currently tapped that liquidity, what, and then we are in what the extreme supply on the weekly. Now let's look at the reaction we are having on this weekly, right? We had this first day's candle closing within the range of this previous week, second week within the range, and also third week what closing within the range. And currently what we are looking at, it looks like we are breaking what below what this doji candles, right? And on the daily, yes, it looks like we have successfully what closed below this what this low, had what a change of character on the daily. So currently this is what our supply that is in control of price. So if price makes a push to this level, right, I'll be looking to what sell. Now we don't trade, I don't trade the Japanese yen, so using the analysis on the Japanese yen, knowing that the Japanese yen is going to shift bearish, right, that means every currency against the Japanese yen, the Japanese yen is going to what gain strength over the Japanese yen. So on JPY we are expecting initial what bullishness, and then followed by what initial what bearishness, right, and then followed by what bullishness. So this is our current demand in control on the Japanese yen, right? This is our current demand in control on the Japanese yen, right? And we broke out of this small range here, right? So this is our current demand in control of the Japanese yen. So if you are to get what a push here, right, and we don't trade below this level, and then we get what a change of character, a break of structure, we will likely be what breaking to the upside. So this level has liquidity, but this is an equal high liquidity, right, which is going to induce sellers who what are trading what support and resistance without not much confluence, not realizing there is what a point of interest just above that zone, right? So we are going to get what price what pushing above, clearing all this liquidity, and then tapping into this what supply. Then after that we look at what price will do. If we get a break above, then what we are targeting the daily what supply. So on pound JPY, I'm bullish on pound JPY, but I'm expecting price to tap into this, might give us the necessary shift, and then we look for buys to the upside. But when we start trading from this below this range, I'll still not be looking for sales unless we are completely out of this range, because the Japanese yen really looks bullish. So I'll not be looking to what sell any currency against what the Japanese. I'll be looking to buy any currency against the Japanese yen. All right. Now on the Euro USD, we realize we are forming what exhaustion what candles, right? We are forming exhaustion candles on the what on the weekly on Euro USD, telling us what bullish sentiment is probably dying out of the market, right? But although we have this information, we can't just what start looking for what sells. So on the daily, right, probably we ranged above this high the whole what week. We ranged above this high the whole week, right? We ranged above this high the whole week. So what is next for Euro USD, right? We have this daily supply above what this current supply. Price almost stamped in, but what? It couldn't, right? But this is the supply that led to the break of what this structure. So this supply is much more what has more value than this supply, right? So back on the 4 hour, this is what our 4 hour demand in what in control. Till we start trading below this demand, we can't what look for what sells on, even though I'm favoring what sells, right? And this is what, right? So till we start trading below this demand, right, we can't be looking for what sells, because price can just respect this demand, but give us a final push to tap into the supply, and then we move down to the downside, right? So I'll only start looking for sells if we trade below this demand, right? And then I'll start looking for buys if you keep on pushing to the upside. But I'm still favoring what sells on what in Euro USD. So once you start trading below this level, I'll be looking for what sells. Now the market is really rangy, so I'll just stay out of this market for now, because you really don't know. It's not giving us any significant highs or any significant lows, so you can't really be trading what Euro USD now. So we start forming significant lows or highs, then we start making what a decision on it. So currently my bias on Euro USD is what is bearish, but I'll only start looking for buys for sells, if you trade below this zone. Now all these demands along the way are just will be inducement or demands. They are just going to give price a reaction, but they are not going to change the overall direction of price. This is the demand I believe will be pushing price to the upside, or be giving price a major reaction. If you are to break below, we push lower to this level, right? So on Euro USD, I'm looking for sells until I'm looking for sells, but we have to trade below this demand, right? All right. So on USD card, we realize I had this set up in one of our weekly outlooks, and I said price will be breaking down, tapping this equal low liquidity, and then tapping into this demand and push to the upside, and price is doing this. That's right. So currently we have demand in control, because overall structure is bullish, right? And now we have shifted structure. Now the internal structure has shifted in accordance with the overall market structure, right? So a risk entry is to be entering at this demand, currently demand in control, right? Anticipating price to push to the upside, and a take profit will be above this week high, right? Or a conservative entry is to wait for price to trade above the supply, and then we'll be looking for buys to the upside. So it actually depends on you, right? But I believe in the next few days, right, price will be bullish, right? If we actually start trading below this start trading below this demand, then we can be looking for sells to this low, right? So currently on the USD card, I'm bullish on the USD card, right? I'm bullish on the USD card. I'll prefer the conservative approach, right? Because on the DXY, we are still trading below a significant supply. So once we get a break above the DXY, we'll probably also get a break above the supply, and then I'll start looking for buys to the upside, and my target will be this high. So we can be risking 30 pips for 156 pips, which is a 1:5 trade. All right.